Hello and welcome to some more Star Citizen with the continuation of the Shipyard series and explanation of the upcoming updates to the ship matrix and stats. I wanted to talk about thrusters, weapon hardpoints and turrets today and go through some of the important changes there. So with thrusters, with the new stats, thrust ratings are gone and sizes have also been removed, as it didn't really convey any relevant information. Thrusters are unique to the ships that they're hull locked to, and can be swapped in and out for whole sets now. So you're going to be able to change your stock thrusters for something more suitable to your needs, ones geared towards stealth or competition uses or whatever. Thrusters move your ship around, and there are two main groups of thrusters: main and maneuvering. So the main thrusters split down into actual main thrusters and main, which is obviously quite complicated names. Basically, main thrusters in the main thrusters group make your ship go forwards. That's their main kind of role. Retro thrusters kind of help your ship stop. VTOL or vertical takeoff and landing thrusters provide you lift to help you get upwards. So they can be in a fixed position or they can pivot to provide thrust in a particular direction or help push in a particular direction. But VTOL thrusters are not essential, but they will help you when you're trying to slow your descent when landing or even trying to leave atmosphere. They give you that kind of lift and cushion. Maneuvering thrusters are the other major group. You've got fixed maneuvering thrusters. So fixed maneuvering thrusters provide instant thrust output. They don't need to align to a desired vector first. This is going to give you a much quicker response time, leading to more agility. The downside of that is that you need a minimum of 12, at least on a ship, to provide the ability to move in a 6 degrees of freedom way, which is what you want. They have to move in any direction. So gimbals as well. Gimbal maneuvering thrusters provide one or more axes as they pivot and rotate to align themselves to desired vectors before providing thrust. This allows less thrusters to be needed, but is going to give you a slower response time as those thrusters need to align and get into position first. Also, if one of those gimbal thrusters gets taken out, or you've got panel management problems, then that's also going to cause some major issues with those gimbal thrusters, as they might not be able to align as quick as they want to, or you're not going to have enough power on one side of your ship. The thrusters info is intended to be used with the technical information panel, which we've covered in a previous video, to compare the stats of ships more accurately in regards to what they can do with thrusters and maneuvering. They also are continuing to tweak the flight balance and output and comparative thruster values. So in the future, we're going to see probably thrust rating in some way return. But as I said earlier, thruster sets are now unique to ships, and it will be likely comparing them to stock items, so we'll have a much better comparative value anyway. Weapon hardpoints. So there are some major changes to weapon hardpoints. They are restricted to a single size item now. No more ranges like size 1 to 3 on a weapon point. They can only take a weapon of that size or a gimbal of that size to that particular point. Gimbaling will reduce the size of a weapon that it can take by 1, so a size 3 weapon hardpoint can now take a fixed size 3 or a size 2 gimbaled weapon. There are some other restrictions in some unique weapon arrangements as well, like with the Vanguard's nose weapon arrays. The weapons section of ships will now show the size of the mount at the bottom of the little hex. If there's a circle in the top right, that conveys that there are identical hardpoints of that type. So a hex with weapons 3 in the center and a 2 in the top right conveys that it's 2 size 3 weapon hardpoints. A dotted line shows that the slot is empty, whereas most slots will be kind of filled with stock items anyway, with a filled line. On turrets, there can be a number at the top center of the hex as well. This shows how many attachment points are on the turret mount. As all turrets are unique now to hulls, you're going to be able to click on that hex to find out more information about what each of these turrets can have attached hardpoint-wise to them. Weapon, turret, missile, and utility hardpoints are now all separate unique mounts. You can't put a turret mount on a weapon mount. You can't put a missile, or otherwise known as ordnance mount, on a utility or weapons mount. Turrets. So weapons that are twin-linked or linked or share a mount are now all turrets. So gameplay for turrets is being entirely refactored with better gyro stabilization to help keep them on target and to make it fun and useful, and actually having a player in those turrets and shooting stuff. Turrets will be more accurate, responsive, and intuitive in Alpha 3.0, but also camera shake, G-force effects, articulated direction controls, and improved UIs with crew members being able to identify important targets between each other, should all be coming in future 3.x patches. Turrets are split into manned and remote turrets as their major groups. Turrets can only be attached to turret hardpoints. Turrets have multiple attachment points themselves. These can vary from weapon, ordnance, and utility hardpoints as well. They don't just have to be weapon ones. All turrets are unique to a ship's hull now, so there will be various options for turrets for each ship series, but they won't be shareable to different hulls. So you can't replace a Constellation turret with one from a Retaliator, for example, but you would be able to swap Constellation turrets around from the different variants of the Constellation. So a Phoenix and a Taurus could share turrets, for example. Remote turrets cannot be swapped for manned turrets or vice versa, though. Manned turrets, typically controlled by a player or NPC sitting in the seat, sitting in this like turreted seat. Manned turrets, when destroyed, are also viable breaching points for entry into your ship. Remote turrets are controlled from another seat or console elsewhere on the ship. This may be having the turret's viewpoint sent back remotely to the operator, or something like the Super Hornet's ball turret, where they can just see it anyway, but it's operated from whatever seat you want. So some weapon points that have now been deemed remote turrets, or previously were weapon points but are now turrets, are the Mustang series' chin turret, the Hornet series canard and ball turrets, the F8 rear turret, the 85X belly turret, the Urza Rover top turret, the Reliant wing turret, the Terrapin nose turret, the Redeemers, all those turrets on there, and the Hull series nose turret, and the Caterpillar command module turret. Also, there is some AI, NPC, and PDT stuff that we should talk about, so that's point defense turrets. Any turret can be controlled by a player or NPC. AI modules, though, are a separate function that require a blade to be added to your ship's computer. Formerly, this was called an avionics module. And AI is separate for an NPC in this situation. They are literally a in-law computer controlling that particular hardpoint. For each turret, you will wish to be controlled by an AI, which will engage and track independently of player or NPC input. You will need to have a blade equipped for that. So ships come with these types of turret, either have blades already installed or additional computer items to hold them in, as blade space is restricted. So not all ships are going to be able to just put AI modules in them, and there's going to be some restrictions there. But this is designed to force players into choosing between adding this feature or another blade feature when customizing your ship. And it does sound like blades might give you some cool autonomy on your ship. Point defense turrets are AI controlled turrets with the computer and blades already set up with a specific loadout, intended typically to intercept missiles and torpedoes. Any turret sounds like it will have to be set up as an AI module or a PDT, as long as it's got the room for the blades and the computer, but there may be other concessions as well with blades that require slots and power and things as well. And that was basically it. We are going to be continuing to follow the Shipyard series as they talk about utility hardpoints, ordnance hardpoints, and that sort of stuff as well. And we should be getting those new stats updated pretty damn soon. So it's pretty exciting, because then we can do the ship buy series again, and we can compare ships more accurately, and it's a well-needed change that we've wanted for probably over a year, over 2 years. Anyway, every month we give away a ship. For October, it's a Constellation Aquila with Urza Rover and P-52 Snub Fighter, donated by our lovely featured org this month, Stellar Enterprise. Links to them below if you're interested in joining an org. All you need to do is be subscribed to my YouTube channel and comment on any of my Star Citizen videos during that month. Do you have any questions about the stats, about the ship's matrix, about anything we discussed today, Alpha 3.0, or Star Citizen's development in general, chuck them in the comments below. A special thank you to my Patreons who allow me to create the amount of content I do. If you are interested in becoming one of them, then you can find the links to Patreon as well as everything else we discussed down below. Please don't forget to like and subscribe as well, as it really does help me, and I will see you in the verse.